In order to break a bad habit, we have to be aware of the habit. We have to have some level of self-awareness that helps us track what's going on and figure out how we're going to actually solve the problem. In order to do this, there's a very simple method that I like to share with you, and it's just called the note card method. And it's a way to spot the root causes of your bad habits, right? To spot what's actually driving them. And this note card method, you just take a little 3x5 card, and on it you're going to write 4 things. You're going to write who, what, when, and where. And under those columns, you'll keep the note card in your back pocket, and as you go around throughout your day and you perform a bad behavior, then you'll pull that note card out of your pocket and write down who, what, when, and where, right? You'll take stock of who's surrounding you at the time, of what you're doing at that particular time, when it's happening, so not only the time itself, but also what was the preceding action, what came right before that, and where are you? What location are you in, right? Get some data about the things that surround you when you're performing this bad habit. Why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because one of the things that triggers a bad habit is the cue or the prompt, the thing that promotes the behavior. And you want to understand these triggers deeply so that you can figure out how to either resolve them and eliminate them from your life, or come up with a better solution for when those triggers occur. So rather than falling back into the bad habit, you have an alternative to go to. Remember, the trigger is the first part of the habit loop: trigger, routine, reward. And almost every habit has some kind of trigger that prompts it or promotes it. And so the cause that drives the behavior is very important to understand. This note card method is really simple. It doesn't take a whole lot of time. And if you do it for, let's say, over the course of a week, you'll have quite a bit of information and data about what actually drives your habit and what doesn't. You can imagine, for example, someone who has a smoking habit. There might be a variety of ways that that habit is triggered or prompted. In the beginning of the day, maybe they're driving to work and they just need to wake up, and so that's a trigger for smoking. Maybe later on in the mid-afternoon, they are getting bored and they want some social connection. They see a coworker smoking outside, and that's a trigger for smoking. And then at the end of the day, on their drive home, maybe they're exhausted or stressed from a long day at work, and so that's a trigger for smoking. But whether it's social connection or stress or needing to wake up in the morning, each is a different trigger, but for the same habit. And this is one of the important things to understand about bad habits, which is that they're often complex and multi-layered. And so we need to have some kind of tracker, like the note card method, in order to be fully aware of what it is that's promoting or driving the bad habits that we have. And once we have that information, once we're more self-aware about what drives the behavior, then we can start to make informed decisions about how to improve our habits and behavior. So, for example, if you know that stress is a cue for your bad habit at the end of the day, then you can start to either take actions to alleviate the stress early on, or come up with a better solution for dealing and managing with the stress when that trigger occurs, like deep breathing or some kind of meditation or some other form of relaxation, rather than the bad habit that you normally fall into when that trigger comes around. So go ahead and pick up a couple sets of note cards. I have a link below this video to just a basic set if you want to pick one up. And spend about a week tracking yourself, who, what, when, and where, so that you have deeper self-awareness about what's actually driving your behaviors, and then you can take some actions to go ahead and adjust the things that trigger the habits that you want to avoid. So go ahead and do that now, and I'll see you in the next lesson.